Yeah, naked Andrew Gillum, you have it right. The Senate is weak. You know what? You know who it is? It's Susan Collins and it's Lisa Murkowski. Talk about weak. It's embarrassing. And they don't even take a meeting with EJ? Not even a meeting? Yeah, I'll talk about that today. We'll get to that. We got a government shutdown to address, though. We'll do that first. Everybody, welcome to Vince on a Wednesday. Good to have you with us here on the program. As always, the best audience anywhere. It's government shutdown season, baby. We've got ourselves a good old-fashioned government shutdown. Now, I did not see the benefits as I was driving into this program this morning. I was driving literally on the beltway of the D.C. area going, why is the traffic so crappy still? I thought we had a government shutdown. I thought we would benefit from this. No benefit to me. No benefit whatsoever. It's just another normal, miserable day in D.C. traffic. But I'm here for you. I'm willing to endure that. Although I expected a better situation this morning, whatever. I'm here with you. We've got a lot to talk about. The Democrats have shut the government down, and they're mad about President Trump's sombrero memes. It's one of the funniest stories I've ever seen. It's wonderful. Also today, I want to talk about President Trump, the White House. They made a decision to withdraw their nomination of the great E.J. Antoni to become the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I've got some thoughts on that subject. Hold on for that. We've got a lot to discuss. Before we get there, though, I want to thank the great sponsors of this program. Millions of veterans and active military have risked and continue to risk their lives for you and for me to live a life with freedom. The irony is that our country is becoming less and less free by the day. And our phones, well, they're listening to us. And tech companies are tracking all of our online activity. We need to do our part to protect ourselves. One of the best weapons is a product that I use every day. It's called ExpressVPN. Now, ExpressVPN is an app that sends 100% of my online activity through secure encrypted servers so that data brokers can't see what we do online, not their business at all. With ExpressVPN, none of your online activity is logged, and the company has a strict zero logs policy. They can't share your data because they don't have it. And ExpressVPN is easy to use. It takes one click, and it works on all of your devices. I mean, just think about the use cases for this. You know, I was telling people recently, I just did some gun shopping again recently. And then when you buy a gun, you kind of want to kit it out, right? You want to buy accessories and get everything you want for it. And some of that involves online searches. You're like, wait a second. Why is the military going to be Why am I going to provide random companies with the ability to go through all this stuff? How about no? How about you don't get to see any of that? I could pick up my accessories without you being involved and knowing what I'm looking for. So I like ExpressVPN. I think you're going to like it too. Right now, you can get an extra 4 months when you use my special link. Go to expressvpn.com/Vince. Get 4 extra months of ExpressVPN. That's expressvpn.com/Vince. All right. Sombreros on, everybody. We have a big show today. The government shutdown. The government shutdown. Yes, there we go. I got my sombrero on, rumble.com/Vince. The government shutdown began last night at midnight, going into the wee hours of the morning, because the Democrats shut it down. The Democrats do not want this government open. And I just want to remind people of the stakes here in case you don't know this, or in case you have friends who don't know this, tell them. It was literally just about keeping the government open for 7 more weeks. That was the whole thing. Republicans in the House passed a piece of legislation to say, hey, let's keep it open for 7 more weeks. Republicans in the Senate, they were ready to pass legislation that said, hey, let's keep it open for more weeks, 7 more weeks. And President Trump keeps saying, hey, let's keep it open for 7 more weeks. And Democrats in the Senate, well, they said no. They stomped their feet. They threw a tantrum. They're upset about all of this. And what do they want? They want the Biden administration back. They don't want you to determine the future for our country. They don't like that you elected Donald Trump. They don't like that you put Republicans in power in the House and the Senate. They're trying to restore the Biden factory settings to the United States government. They want to repeal the big, beautiful law. They want to increase all of the spending again. They want to bring back the USAID waste. They want to spend your hard-earned money on illegal aliens to receive health care. They want to spend your hard-earned money on transgender operations, both here and abroad. They want the chaos back. And until they get it, they're going to create more chaos for the rest of us, or at least that's their plan. So overnight, the government shuts down. Now, one way to look at this is, so what? The government shuts down. It's happened before. It'll happen again. And every time it does happen, does it measurably change your life in dramatic ways forever? For most people, the answer to that is no. Now, if you're a federal employee, if you're the kind of person today who is furloughed as a result of this, well, sure, it's going to be a disruption to your life patterns, definitely. And then additionally, if you're a government employee who's about to be laid off as the Trump administration uses its powers to continue to shrink the government, well, you can thank the Democrats for that. President Trump and the White House did warn the Democrats that if we get to government shutdown territory, there's going to be layoffs. And a lot of these people will not be rehired back. In fact, listen to the head of the Office of Management and Budget, Russ Vought, yesterday explaining, well, yeah, we will continue to do everything we can to make this government more efficient. Here he is.
Then you have the authority to reduce the federal employee count by roughly how much?
Well, I'm going to let those kinds of questions extend until tomorrow and the days after. Right now, where we are, we have hours to go before a government shutdown, and it can be avoided. And then we'll get in tomorrow. The preparation is all done. We have many options, but we're going to get in tomorrow and see where we are. And we're going to manage this shutdown and try to keep the American people from the havoc that the Democrats have caused on with their crazy demands. But let it be said, there are all manner of authorities to be able to keep this administration's policy agenda moving forward, and that includes reducing the size and scope of the federal government, and we will be looking for opportunities to do that.
This is great. This is really great. I've gone over the numbers before. You know, you talk about a federal government with 3 million people working for it. 3 million people? What the hell is going on? 3 million people in a country of 300 million, and you've got all these. You've got this craziness. You just think about how many people it takes, how many private sector workers it takes to keep a government employee fully paid and then have all of their benefits covered. You know what the answer to that is? 80 people. It takes 80 private sector employees to fund one government employee on average. Yeah, that's not sustainable. We can't do that. That's crazy. Let's stop doing that. And so the Trump administration is trying to cut back here, and they're trying to use everything they can. Also, when you get into a government shutdown, what that means is that the funding is drying up, the available funding for the federal government right now, the authorized funding. So as a result of that, they've got to make decisions about, okay, where do we cut? How do we save some money? Perfect opportunity to do a little bit of a controlled burn here. Just burn off the underbrush. Get rid of the stuff that's not efficient, not useful, not helping the government at all. That's actually just leeching off of the American taxpayer. So we have a real opportunity here. And Russ Vought, you heard him say, tomorrow morning, that's this morning, Wednesday morning, I'll have an opportunity. We're going to go through this line by line. We're going to figure out who we got to get rid of. My guess is they got started early this morning. They got the Sharpies out. They got those presidential Sharpies. You can go. Look at all this money we're saving. So either way, no matter how this goes, it was a political win for the Republicans if they keep the government open, which is what they wanted to do. And it's a taxpayer win with the government closed because now they're figuring out a way to save us even more money. You tell me why I'm supposed to be upset about this. What's the part of this that's supposed to drive me crazy? Now, one part, I will admit, there is one part that does drive me crazy at least, which is that our troops, for now, are going to have to go without pay. Their paychecks are getting clogged up by this. I don't like that. If you've volunteered to serve in our military, if you said, yes, I'll put my life on the line for my country, I want to see you get paid. And I don't like the Democrats are getting in your way right now. I hate this. I don't like seeing that. And that needs to be resolved with haste. But in terms of just the broad impacts on our country right now, I'm just seeing all upside at the moment. So going into the evening, we get a shutdown. Now, 3 Democrats saw the writing on the wall, and they said, hey, guys, this is a stupid thing that we're doing here. What are we doing? So last night, ahead of the shutdown, Senators Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada, Democrat, Angus King of Maine, Democrat. He calls himself an independent, but he's a Democrat. He's with the Democrats. And then John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, Democrat. Those 3 are the only three who crossed the aisle to say, yeah, let's keep the government open. Because even John Fetterman can see the writing on the wall that this is not going well for Democrats right now. The American people think they suck. Look at this polling data. Fellas, pull this up on my screen. This is the New York Times. New York Times poll over the course of just about the last week, the September 22nd to the 27th. They asked people whether or not the Democrats should or should not shut the government down if their demands are not met. 65% of respondents said, don't shut the government down. 65%. Just 27% says, yeah, you should do it. Go ahead, shut it down. Shut it down. Among Democrats, 43% of Democrats are saying, don't shut the government down. 47% say do. So in other words, it's a split question among Democrat voters. The rest of the country is like, you guys are crazy. So the numbers here are absolutely clear. This is a stinker for the Democrats, a total loser. They've signed up to it. And for what? Because they want illegal aliens to have health care. It's as simple as that. The whole thing is crazy. You want proof of that? You want proof of that? So if you're a Democrat and you're trying to spin the American people on this, like, oh, we're not trying to give illegal aliens health care, which, by the way, they are trying to spin you on that. All of their networks keep claiming that. All these Democrat officials, to the extent that they're staying on talking points, are saying that. The problem is people like Maxine Waters exist. So if you want to keep lying to the American people and try and do it with a straight face, don't put Maxine Waters in front of a microphone. Because when you do, you end up like with this clip that she produced for Lindell TV. Take a look. Here's cut 9, Maxine Waters giving the game away.
But aren't Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
That's right. Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
Are Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens? Uh-huh. We're demanding health care for everybody. What? For illegal aliens? You know, the big, beautiful bill, now the big, beautiful law, by the grace of God, thank goodness that thing made it through, cut 1.4 million illegals off of taxpayer-funded health care rolls. That's just the truth. That's what happened. So you can thank the Trump administration for getting serious about that. And so there's some interesting things going on here. And as the days progress, we'll dive even more into the numbers. But just think about what happened. So the big, beautiful law passes. It stops these deadbeat blue states who are importing illegal aliens from continuing to leech off of taxpayers in order to fund health care for illegals. What the effect of that is that the states, that these blue states, places like California, places like Washington, Illinois, New York, what's happened is the state taxpayers, the state budget burden for illegal aliens has grown because the federal portion of it has shrunk. In other words, federal taxpayers are not on the hook anymore, or not anywhere nearly as much as we were before. And these states, they got a problem on their hands. They imported millions of illegal aliens into their states. You know what the budgetary effect of that is? Well, yeah. Now they got to figure out a way to pay for it, and they can't steal from federal taxpayers at the same rate that they were doing before. So what the Democrats are arguing for right now is a blue state bailout, another blue state bailout for their massive overspending on illegal alien health care. How about this? I've got an idea. Deport their ass. Get them out of the country. Be like the red states. Just cooperate with the Trump administration. Get illegal aliens out of the country. I'll tell you how to save some money. Stop spending it on illegal foreign nationals. You don't got to rob from us in order to keep this going. How about keep your states going by getting rid of the illegals? The whole thing is crazy. But another piece of this is it gives the other element of their game away. They like having illegals in their states. Why? Because they can rig elections with them. It's as simple as that. They can rig elections with illegals, and they can exploit illegals as cheap labor in order to take advantage of the illegal foreign labor and to undermine American workers. It's the perfect storm. They have every incentive. Keep them around. So we'll keep doing that. And they do. And they do. And then they shut down the government so that the troops can't get paid. Which party's on your side exactly? Who's actually representing you? Who's fighting it all for your interests? And don't tell me it's about health care. President Trump just yesterday secured a deal with Pfizer to lower drug costs across the country. And the White House says that they're working on deals with all the other big drug companies right now. And we can expect more of those announcements to come out. Now, set aside whatever qualms you have about Pfizer, which of course I do. I'm not thrilled about Pfizer being at the White House in any capacity. I didn't love the way the COVID pandemic went, and the jabs and the lies and the deceit and the myocarditis. Not big on any of that. But the point I'm making is that if you want to tackle healthcare costs, you, one, make America healthy again. That's what RFK Jr. is doing. And two, bring down drug costs, which President Trump is actually doing. There's a lot of gum flapping that goes on the left about this. Trump actually did something about it. And we go into a government shutdown where the left is pretending like they're fighting for you in healthcare. They're not. They're doing what Maxine Waters said. They're fighting for illegals. That's what's actually going on. All right. So now we get to a place where the president and the White House, they're calling out these guys. And they're saying, you're just funding illegal aliens. And they're doing it in the most hilarious way humanly possible. So after Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries finally get their lazy rear ends over to the White House to meet with Trump, to negotiate with him this week, they storm out of the meeting and they claim, oh, we don't have a deal. We don't have a deal. Not until illegals are getting health care is what they're saying. And the president, of course, put out this hilarious Truth Social, which has started a firestorm among the left because they hate being made fun of. And boy, I love when they get ridiculed. Here's President Trump. This is cut two. This is the video that he shared this week.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
For those of you listening on the audio podcast, I told you yesterday, as the fellas put a sombrero on my head too, that in the video, Hakeem Jeffries has a sombrero on and a mustache that was strapped to his face. And one of my favorite, there's so many great elements out of this that are just making me crack up. And I don't know, I hope you're having as much fun with this as I am, because I just think it's the funniest thing ever. So Sombrero Gate has started in earnest. Monday night, the president tweets that out, posts that to Truth Social. And by Tuesday, the Democrats are absolutely freaking out about this meme. They're horrified. They can't even believe that this happened. And, you know, they're getting very, what's the word? Full of themselves. They're very patronizing about this. They're scolding everybody. How dare you? It's very sanctimonious. How dare you do this? And every time I get one of these speeches from these guys, it makes me want to put another sombrero on their heads. I don't know about you. Are you right? Like a full-blown mariachi band appearing right behind them. In a moment, I'm going to take you on a tour through Sombrero Gate. This has had me belly laughing, and I'm telling you, this is a source of great health. If you can laugh at all of this, it'll make you a healthier human. And for those of you who are just watching on rumble.com/Vince, we put on screen during the president's meeting with Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, they put Trump 2028 hats out in front of them on the Resolute desk, and it's so funny. This has to be a White House photo. It's a White House picture of Trump leaning back in his swivel chair at the Resolute desk with a great smile on his face, just pointing at Hakeem Jeffries, just absolutely dominating him. That's peak alpha energy right there, ladies and gentlemen, as Hakeem Jeffries has no idea what to do. And it's also a sign, by the way, like Trump is totally dominating the politics of all of this. He's the guy who's lowering healthcare costs and wants to keep the government open. Hakeem Jeffries is the guy who's shuttering the government and trying to give away your money to illegal aliens, in case you're wondering how things are going. Sombrero Gate, straight ahead. We'll get to it. Also, I want to address the now President Trump's former Bureau of Labor Statistics nominee, E.J. Antoni, our longtime in-house economist here on this program. We'll talk about it coming up. in just minutes. Hey, you ever think about aging as much as I do? I do think about it. And the reason for that is because my body sends me all these reminders as I'm like getting out of bed, walking across the room. Yeah, you notice these things as you get older. Your energy, well, in my case, it goes down, and I've been trying to figure out ways to get it back. And I'm excited to share something that's been working for me. It's called C15 from Fatty 15. It's the first essential fatty acid to be discovered in more than 90 years. Fatty 15 co-founder Dr. Stephanie Van Watson discovered the benefits of C15, all while working with the U.S. Navy. And based on studies, we do know that when our cells don't have enough C15, they can age faster. Fatty 15 can help you repair and protect age-related damage to cells and help activate pathways in the body that repair mechanisms that support our overall wellness. Fatty 15 is a science-backed, award-winning, vegan, 100% pure C15 supplement, and refills are shipped right to your door. I take it every day, and I've noticed the impact that it's had on my life. I just feel better. You know how you can just tell when you feel better? That's how I feel. I feel better. Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize our C15 levels and to help us support our long-term health and wellness, especially as we age. You can get an additional 15% off of their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/Vince. Use the code Vince at checkout. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Yes, indeed. All right. Sombrero Gate. You ready? You ready? Let's do it. So the president posts a hilarious meme video, and Hakeem Jeffries reacts exactly the way that I was hoping he would. Here's Hakeem Jeffries attempting to get very tough with the president of the United States.
Mr. President, the next time you have something to say about me, don't cop out through a racist and fake AI video. When I'm back in the Oval Office, say it to my face. Say it to my face.
Oh, isn't that great? I love how, you can tell. I call Hakeem Jeffries the dial-up Democrat. He's still operating on a 56K modem. You can tell that he started that sentence thinking, like, I'm going to sound real tough, but he didn't actually know how to end it. So he wandered his way through it. And he finally got to the end. Say it to my face. Say it to my face. Well, be careful what you wish for, because I'm pretty sure he will say it to your face if that's what you want. I think the president will deliver that. What is that, by the way? Like, are you bowing up now against the president of the United States? Are you going to beat him up, Hakeem Jeffries? So stupid. Say it to my face. Yeah, somebody in the chat says, Cisco says violence is all they know. Yeah, he's going right back to, his instincts. What about violence? How about we use some violence? We've had enough violence. Why don't you just open the government again? How about you just, vote for sanity for once? Give that a try. Just do something a little different. So that's Hakeem Jeffries trying to get tough. Chuck Schumer stepped out, the elderly United States senator, to let everybody know that he didn't really say that nobody likes Democrats. That was, just so you know, it was AI. It wasn't actually Chuck Schumer. Here's Chuck Schumer. Take a look.
Yesterday, the president posted an offensive deepfake AI video of Leader Jeffries and me, with sombreros, fake music, impersonating my voice through AI. It wasn't me. Talking even more lies about health care and immigration. Listen to this, America. Hours away from a shutdown, which we don't want, the American people don't want, the president is busy trolling away on the internet like a 10-year-old.
He just voted for it.
And that's exactly why Americans are going to blame him if the government shuts down. That's another proof point.
Meanwhile, Americans are blaming Democrats for the shutdown, and rightfully so. And Chuck Schumer, who's like, they're going to shut the government down. Chuck Schumer just shut the government down. So in case you're wondering, those lies were authentic. No deep fake lies. Those are regular lies. Those are the regular Chuck Schumer lies that he tells every day. There he is doing it yet again. That was fake. I never said Democrats suck. Yeah, well, with every other action, you prove it. So that's Chuck Schumer's reaction to this. MSNBC was in an all-out butt pucker panic yesterday. They could have turned colon to diamonds with those cheeks. Listen to the MSNBC freak out yesterday. Cut 5.
I also asked him what he thought of the tweet last night after the meeting in the Oval Office with our leadership and Senate leadership, what he thought of the tweet that the president put forward with our leader in a sombrero, nodding with a mustache, and Schumer saying things, of course, that he never said. The speaker said that was not his style. I said, did you call it out? You should call it out for the racist, bigoted thing that it was. And he questioned whether or not it was racist.
Let me just drill down on that. Mike Johnson doesn't know if a picture of Leader Hakeem Jeffries donning a sombrero and a mustache is or is not racist?
I said that very thing. I said an African-American leader of the House donning a sombrero and mustache. You don't see the bigotry in that? You don't see the racism in that? That's a problem, Nicole.
I love it so much. How funny is that? So 2 women with resting Democrat face on television just nodding gravely about how awful. That's so bigoted. That's so racist. What do they have? First of all, what do they have against sombreros? Come on. Sombrero. What's a good Mexican restaurant birthday party without a sombrero? Huh? That's the key. And then you have to sneak off and tell the waiter, like, hey, my buddy, it's his birthday. Even if it's not his birthday. As long as they drop a sombrero on his head and drop a little cake in front of him and put a candle in it. Worth it. Totally worth it. But this is so funny. So that's Congresswoman Madeline Dean and Nicole Wallace, of course. And both have resting Democrat face. And they're so angry. And I don't know what this is. And I know it's probably juvenile of me, but there's something about it. It's just like the more angry they get, the more I enjoy it. Like, right? Have you ever been at a point in your life where you knew that something was really funny and then somebody starts scolding you for it? Probably when you were in like high school or something, I'll be honest. But whatever, I'm enjoying this moment. I have so little regard for these Democrats that I can't help but enjoy it. And the more they scold you, the more it cracks you up. It's the funniest thing ever. And it just makes me want to see, the Trump administration do it even more. And they're not the only ones. So we get the all-out panic from the 2 bitter Democrat ladies. We also have, what is this, Ari Melber? We got, here's cut 5. Take a look. Here's this is Ari Melber sitting with Don Lemon, I think. And they too were whining yesterday about this. They can't even believe Donald Trump is this funny.
This is Trump AI attack. It's a video. I'm not going to play the whole video because we don't find it meets our standards or is newsworthy. But I want to show, before I show Jeffrey's response, what he put up. It's basically this ridiculous, hateful, kind of bigoted, doctored image. In the video, he has the politicians saying things they don't really say. So we're the news.
So
we're not going to tell you what it is because it's false. We have that standard.
We have standards here. We wouldn't let lies appear on television. Meanwhile, like they let Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer just lie with every genuine word that comes out of their mouth on their networks. We've got standards here. But the best part of that segment was that they didn't show the video, but they put the image up on screen, just a still frame of Hakeem Jeffries wearing a superimposed sombrero and a mustache. And it said on the image, it said AI-generated post, which is so funny. And it's like these humorless scolds are the best. I'm loving this so much. And then we get this Democrat congresswoman who you ever see this where like especially Democrats do this, where they'll be speaking in a perfect English accent, normal American English accent, and then all of a sudden they'll drop a Spanish word in. And they'll put some sort of like accent flair on it to prove that they can speak Spanish or that they can pronounce that word. Yeah, Kamala was the queen of that, or at least she tried to anyway. Kamala tried to pretend she had a French accent when she was in France. Yeah, no, they call it. Yeah, that's right. Justin's pointing out they call it code switching, which is another word for insecurity. Here's listen to this Democrat congresswoman. Put some flourish on the word sombrero yesterday. Cut 7. Look at this.
That's right. And then what does that shameful man do? After a meeting where you're supposed to be working out details, where you're supposed to be negotiating a deal, you post something that draws a sombrero and a mustache on the leader with whom you're supposed to be?
A sombrero and a mustache? A sombrero? Yeah, okay, it's sombrero. So she's raging about that yesterday. And so we got, was that an image, fellas, or did we get a video out of that after she was freaking out? Oh, we got a photo. This is from the Trump War Room. Check this. Oh, you do have the photo? Put the photo up on screen. I actually think that this photo, for those of you on rumble.com/Vince watching us right now, this photo is one of my favorite memes to come out of this. Just because of how well it's done. This is Congresswoman Teresa Fernandez, who's melting down. And they put a mustache. Somebody photoshopped a mustache onto her. A really good mustache, by the way. It's well groomed. It might be AI, but it's very well done. A perfectly placed sombrero. She looks phenomenal. She looks great. And then right behind her, another Democrat congresswoman, now with a purple sombrero on her head. It's this is the kind of stuff. This is the high quality stuff I've been looking for. I think we're winning the meme wars, fellas. I think it's so good. And then the Trump administration followed up with this banger yesterday. Take a look. Cut 8. Watch this.
It's a disgusting video, and we're going to continue to make clear bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault.
A full-blown mariachi band. Just 4 Donald Trumps show up wielding mariachi instruments playing behind Hakeem Jeffries. So what's the old, does McDonald's still say I'm loving it? Ba 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 ba. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. McDonald's, they've changed that slogan, by the way, like a million times since I was a kid. What was it? Yeah. Have you had your break today? You remember that? Have you had your break today? It was a long time ago. That's a fun drinking game, just to go back and remember old McDonald's jingles. Yeah, my drinking games are lame, I'll admit. But anyway, thanks to the president. Thanks for giving us a good time, as always. He is the single funniest president that we've ever had as a country. And don't you ever forget it. I don't know how you could. It's really good. Yeah, somebody said, please hold your head still for the sombrero. Okay, one more time. Sombrero me, please. We need this for some still shots or something. Justin, if we could do this. Where's that sombrero at? Ready? Let me get it perfect. Tilt my head in. Get the sombrero superimposed. A little bit more perfect. All right, good. We've got that. We'll need that if Sombrero Gate continues, we'll use that in one of the still frames. Thank you very, very much. I got some more news for you.
The health care of the American people in the face of an
Thanks. I don't even know what that was about, but I appreciate it. All right, coming up, I've got some news for you. We're going to talk about E.J. Antoni, BLS nominee. We're going to also, I think I might be able to get to some fun Dan Bongino-related news and the effort to make America's streets a lot safer. That's ahead on the program. Stand by for all of that. Hey, if there's something that all of us can believe in, it's hard work, self-reliance, and showing up for the people who count on us. But a while back, I hit a wall. I was getting terrible sleep, and then I would drag myself through the next day on fumes. And when you're in that cycle, you know you have to break out of it. And I needed to break out of it. And that's when I found Beam's Dream Powder. Now, Beam is great. Beam is proudly founded in America, run by people who share our values, hard work, integrity, and delivering results. It's a nighttime blend packed with science-backed ingredients shown to improve sleep so you can wake up refreshed and ready to take on every new day. Dream is made up of a powerful blend of all natural ingredients: reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. And here's the deal for you. Beam is giving you the ultimate Patriot discount of up to 40% off. Try their best-selling Dream Powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time. So with my discount code, VinceShow, you can get their best-selling Dream Powder for just $39. Go to shopbeam.com/VinceShow. Use the code VinceShow at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/VinceShow. Use the code VinceShow for up to 40% off. Thank you to Beam, great sponsor of this program. Great, delicious product. And also, FastGrowingTrees.com is a wonderful sponsor of this program as well. for a bunch of reasons, including that they've made my yard look amazing. I've got great fast-growing trees in my yard, and you should too, because you see, fall is planting season. A lot of plants and trees actually do better when they're planted this time of year. But the key is knowing where to start. And the nice thing about fastgrowingtrees.com is not only do they have all of these great trees, but they give you a really good indication of what you need to do, when to plant them, if you're in the right zone. They've got it all. It's super simple. It's all on their website, fastgrowingtrees.com. It doesn't matter where you live, sunny south, or if you're somewhere where the air is getting chilly. The plant experts can help you find the perfect fit for your space. They've got everything you need: fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, so much more. Order online. Get your plants delivered directly to your door in just a couple of days without ever leaving home. The plants arrived perfectly packaged, safely packaged. It's actually amazing how they do it. I don't even know how they like fold the cardboard in such a way as to safely ensconce your valuable tree. And then it gets there, and then it's ready to go. You just plant it right in the ground. Dig a hole, plant it. This fall, they've got the best deals for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to this program, you get 15% off their first purchase when using the code VINCE at checkout. 15% off, fastgrowingtrees.com. Use the code VINCE at checkout. Now's the perfect time to plant. Use VINCE to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. All right. I want to get into something that I care a lot about, and I think you should care a lot about as well. For those of you who have been with me and with Dan Bongino now for years, you will be familiar with a guy called E.J. Antoni. And Justin, if we could put EJ's picture up on screen, if you can find the picture of him with President Trump in the Oval Office, I just want a frame of reference for those guys watching the video. But here's what we're dealing with. A short while ago, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they had a woman who was at the top of it called Erica McIntyre, and it was being run really poorly. They kept producing data that was garbage, just garbage, unusable. And normally for most of us, like your financial situation is not something you need the government to tell you about. This data, it's always backwards looking. It's like, okay, whatever. I know that my finances suck. I know that I have credit card debt. I know that I need to try and make ends meet and that my paycheck isn't going the distance. These are things that Americans know about themselves. They know what they're dealing with. But the reason that this data matters so much and getting it right matters so much is because the Federal Reserve sets our entire economy's interest rates on the basis of that data. So if the data comes out and it's wrong and it says that actually the jobs reports were great during the Biden era, which they did, they got that completely wrong, the effect of that is that, well, then we don't need to lower interest rates. They're waiting for the jobs to suffer before they lower rates. So we get these rosy, delusional reports from the Biden era, from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They were complete garbage, and that means that it's harder for people to buy a home. It's harder for people to get the auto loan that they might be looking for. It's harder for them to get a loan to start a business, to invest in their business. Everything about the economy is more difficult, and the data are a lie. They're a lie. So the president has been upset about this. He hates that data has been inaccurate. So what did he do? He turned to E.J. Antoni. He turned to a renowned economist with a brilliant understanding of our economy, who is a wise, conservative numbers guy, who has an amazing ability to not just sort through data and assess it and project it, but also an amazing ability to explain it, which is why when I said that you're familiar with him if you've been with me for a while or if you've been with Dan for a while, it's because that's my economist. That's Dan's economist. He's the best economist on the right for a bunch of us to be able to present this data in an understandable way. And so the president made a wise choice to nominate him for that job. So what has happened since? You've got to go through committee first. If you're a nominee, you've got to go through the relevant committee. And in the Senate, they've got the HELP committee. Now, that's the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee. They call it the HELP committee. But it's not helping the rest of us because here's what happened. that committee has an obligation to meet with the president's nominees in order to assess whether or not they would like to vote to confirm that person. Guess what happened in EJ's nomination? Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski refused to meet with him. Susan Collins of Maine, Republican, and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Republican, refused to ever once have an appointment with the president's well-qualified nominee to run the Bureau of Labor Statistics, E.J. Antoni. In other words, if you can't even get the Republicans to take the meeting in that committee, and they're delaying it, they're forestalling it, what you're doing is you're hurting the country. You're stopping the president from having a BLS commissioner so that you can get the data right, so that we can bring the interest rates down, so that people can afford to buy a home. You are clogging up the entire economy for whatever cruel purposes you have in mind. Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski have betrayed this country. They've betrayed their job responsibilities, and they've betrayed the President of the United States and the voters who put him there by refusing to have a meeting with such a well-qualified nominee to do the job. Yesterday, President Trump must have determined that he was left with no choice, given all of the political fights that he's currently engaged in, but to withdraw EJ's nomination from consideration by the Senate. So what that means for the rest of us is we get EJ back. EJ goes back out now into the public. He's able to re-engage. He's able to be the economist that we've all relied on to help sort through the data. But this has further forestalled our ability to get our economy on track. Those two senators, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. Now, I could include the Democrats in my assessment, the Democrats who, this has never been a partisan issue before. All of a sudden, in lockstep, they're just voting completely against anybody the president wants in any of these jobs. In particular, a job like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, you're turning this into a partisan operation? This is about data accuracy. EJ's the best. He should be doing that right now. But he's not, because of Democrats and because of their collaborators in Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins. Shame on both of you for your failure to the country in this. Shame on you. So that's where we are right now. That's what happened. And look, I expressed it last night on Twitter as this news was breaking, and I'll say it again here, that E.J. Antoni is a brilliant economist and a deeply patriotic American. He adores this country. He truly believes in doing everything he can to make it better. And I'm grateful that we have him anywhere on this battlefield, So if they think that in any way they're going to diminish his effectiveness by trying to stiff arm him from an important job like that, they're not. They're not. In fact, through this process, more of the country became aware of EJ and how great he is. That's true. And now I can't wait to see what he does next. No doubt we'll be having conversations with him imminently on air. We'll have EJ. He's been on ice, of course, because of this whole process. But just to be clear, one of the great economists of our time, E.J. Antoni, blocked by two idiots, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, who are not serving their country well right now. In fact, who've betrayed the rest of us by not even meeting with him. Look, ladies, if you had problems with this guy, you are United States senators. Be adults, sit down with him, ask him questions, and resolve whatever disputes you have. Come to your own conclusions at the end of those conversations. But if you don't even have the conversation, that's an act of cowardice. It's disgusting. And that brought us to where we are today. So I just wanted you to know what is happening, what has happened as E.J. Antoni, again, considered for that role. And lots of support. Lots of great people came out. Markwayne Mullin and Tommy Tuberville, and there's a big list. Mike Lee, who were all enthusiastic. Scott Bessent, the United States Treasury Secretary, just kept on going out on television and trying to tell everybody he could possibly get a hold of, EJ is my guy. I need EJ in this role. And Murkowski and Collins They said no, but they didn't even say no. They did it in the most passive-aggressive, feline, pathetic way. They just refused to take a meeting, and they hoped the rest of us wouldn't notice. Sorry, ladies. We did. We noticed. All right. We'll definitely address that more. I'll have more to say about that on the big national radio show today, 12 to 3 Eastern time today. Before I get to the rest of that, not before I get to the radio show, let me cover some other issues with you today. I've got some illegal alien stuff to get to. And this one comes to us by way of our friend Dan Bongino, the aforementioned Dan Bongino, who tweeted out something yesterday. It was actually Dan who called my attention to this when I saw his tweet on the subject. He tweeted yesterday, "We are not slowing down. We are not slowing down." Fellas, let's put a Dan Bongino tweet up on screen, shall we? And he posted this, and I was like, what are you not slowing down over? What's the thing that you are accelerating into? What is this? And, well, it's exciting. Take a look. Here's Fox's coverage. This is what Dan tweeted of what was happening in Chicago yesterday. Watch. Cut 10. Oh, you don't have cut 10? I'm looking at a cut sheet that says 10. All right. Well, let's do it. Let's do it here. I could do it. We'll do it live. All right. You ready, Justin? I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until I get confirmation. You ready? Okay, it's going. Oh, you know what? To hell with it. My yellow tech's not working, fellas. So we're screwed 6 ways from Sunday. All right, well, let me just tell you. The feds have made an arrest in a raid on an apartment building in Chicago on a bunch of suspected Tren de Aragua members, and they sent in the SWAT teams yesterday. It's just a fantastic scene.
Particular individuals
here we go. Take a look.
Associated with Tren de Aragua. They say these individuals are responsible for dealing in guns, long guns and handguns, as well as drugs. The helicopter is now just taken off. This is really an unprecedented show of federal force.
They detained about 24 people, searching only apartments where no rent was being paid.
Amazing. So as a part of the operation, they had helicopters hovering above the building, and they had snipers fast roping down off the helicopters into Chicago. And I'm telling you, you know who's upset about this? The least popular BJ in America, Brandon Johnson. That guy is furious that this is happening in his city. How dare you enforce immigration law in my city? How dare you? And these idiots, they keep saying stuff like, oh, Chicago's the safest big city in America. We're so safe. Really? Because we just cracked down on an apartment complex loaded up with violent Tren de Aragua members, a violent gang from Venezuela. So you tell me again how this makes Chicago safe. It doesn't. But the FBI's doing it. But DHS is doing it. And that's right. That's why Dan tweeted about this, because you have FBI agents who are in on this operation. It's a massive multi-agency operation on an apartment complex in Chicago. A great scene as these guys crack down on these illegal aliens. Really just wonderful to see. So that part of it, that's not ending. You know, this continues. And okay, the media broadly are not going to cover it. You'll get Mike Tobin out with a Fox hit. You'll get Dan Bongino tweeting about it. The legacy press are going to ignore it. They're just going to keep pretending like ICE agents are doing nothing but, you know, terrorizing Americans. They lie to you. All they do is lie to you. Real media
We are
coverage.
fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented...
Thanks for calming me down with that. But it's true, though. They do lie to you. And, you know, it's just outrageous. It's just completely outrageous. Meanwhile, like real media coverage, you know what that would look like? It'd be like, another victory, more illegal aliens. I mean, if you wanted, you know, in the press, there's been kind of an old adage, if it bleeds, it leads. If, you know, in other words, like crisis and chaos is the thing that leads in the headlines. And that makes sense. People, they turn to the drama. But you notice what the left is doing. Instead of telling you about the crisis that exists within our cities, hey, we've got an entire building loaded with Tren de Aragua over here. We've got other apartment buildings being taken over by gangsters over here. We've got Americans who are being killed over here. More rapes are happening over here. Instead of saying that, the way the media are covering this is they're lying to you. They're acting like ICE agents are the Gestapo and the Nazis. So it's not like they don't have a crisis to tell you about. They do. It was created by the left. It's not one of these things where, oh, just bearing the good news because nobody really reads the good news. No, they're not telling you about the underlying predicate for why these guys need to go in on fast ropes to begin with snipers. God bless the men and women of law enforcement. God bless Dan. God bless the FBI. Thank you for being all over it. And no, I didn't say ICE is a function of the FBI. Somebody said that in the chat. I'm saying it's a multi-agency effort. It's a multi-agency effort. It's this is when they work together. It's great. This is great news. This is what we need. Meanwhile, in Des Moines, Iowa, that's where that idiot school board. It's so funny. Truly, the excuse that the school board is coming up with right now for why they hired an illegal alien superintendent to run their operation is we are just too stupid to know he was an illegal alien. Because, right, there are only two options here for why they hired this guy. Either they're totally corrupt or they're total morons. Those are your options. And right now, in an effort to avoid any sort of criminal consequences for their behavior, they're going with, we're total morons. We're idiots. Here's the chairwoman of the Des Moines, Iowa School Board. I'll remind you, she was Michelle Obama's chief of staff, and now she's claiming we were too stupid to realize we hired an illegal alien. Cut 11. Take a look.
The individual who was leading our district with energy and enthusiasm was detained by ICE agents. Since that time, this district, the Iowa Department of Education, the Department of Homeland Security, and others have learned that his citizenship and status and eligibility to work in the United States is not what we were led to believe. For all of us, this is not what we anticipated when we welcomed Dr. Ian Roberts into Central Iowa and the Des Moines School District a little more than 2 years ago. DMPS reviewed Dr. Roberts' I-9, where he stated he was a U.S. citizen and provided two forms of ID, a driver's license and a social security card. And Dentons Davis Brown determined the information submitted was consistent with his claim that he was a U.S. citizen. In accordance with due process, we gave Dr. Roberts an opportunity through his attorney to provide any information that would substantiate his claims by answering a set of questions regarding citizenship. He did not provide the board with the information we requested. Instead, he submitted a letter of resignation through his attorney, and the board will vote to accept his resignation. As each board member votes, please know that the school board made the difficult but right decision given the circumstances.
I'm calling sombreros on this chick. I'm calling complete bull sombrero on this. Yeah. No, we just had no idea. We had no idea. What? An illegal alien? In 2024, the Biden administration went through a court process with this dude, and they had a final order of deportation for him in absentia, meaning he was skipping his court dates. He refused to show up, and they said, yeah, we're deporting you. So this has long been a settled matter, and yet they were playing dumb there in Des Moines. What? That guy? You mean the incredible superintendent of Des Moines schools? Yeah, that guy. That guy's an illegal alien with a loaded Glock 19 in his car. He's been registered to vote in Maryland. They keep sending ballots to his house over and over and over again for years. Just a reminder that that definitely happens, that illegal aliens are definitely getting ballots, participating in elections that's happening in Maryland. So this guy he's everything wrapped up into one. And this is fellas, can you put my screen up? I want to show his official Orville Redenbacher photo that he took, his profile photo. And those of you watching rumble.com/Vince, he's got his bow tie on. Look at him. He's got his fun glasses on. I don't even know how to describe those. They're not tortoise shell. What's the pattern on those? I don't know. There's some kind of spotted glasses. He's having a great time. And then there's his mugshot from when he was busted from a prior charge. And he's got his hair's a little crazy. You know, maybe he had a scuffle with the cops. Who knows? He doesn't look too bad there. He doesn't look happy that he was arrested. Justin just put a sombrero on him, so we improved his hairdo. But the point is, like, there he is. We got all these pictures of him. He entered the United States in 1999. He overstayed a student visa. He's been here forever, and he's been adjudicated deportable. And he should have been out of the country a long time ago. Yet the Des Moines school system, led by Democrats, put him in charge. And one thing that I haven't pointed out about this story, but I do want to point out now is the fact is, to what extent do you think that the white libs who are on the Des Moines school board just gave him a pass and no scrutiny whatsoever because he's a black dude? To what extent do you think that animated their lack of due diligence here? So insofar as, like, they didn't actually check anything, maybe they were like, this is a great thing. Maybe this is a great thing. Dr. Ian Roberts, he's a smart black guy. Let's bring him in. He's the superintendent now. Well, did you check his immigration status? Did you do a background check on him? Is he safe to be around children? Did you look at anything? You know, the kind of stuff you would look at for anybody who's going to have any job working in and around a school system. Did you do anything? Their answer is no. No, well, he filled out the I-9, and it kind of looked right, so I guess we just kept him around. What? That's your system? So here's what I want. I want a full-blown federal investigation into the Des Moines School Board. You earned it. You did it. You sold out the taxpayers of that community. You gave this guy $300,000 a year and of taxpayer money. Vince, illegal aliens don't receive taxpayer money. Hello? Dr. Ian Roberts. Is he even a real doctor? Nobody knows. But he's taking $300,000 cash from the taxpayers every year. And so now it's time for us to launch a full-blown investigation into Des Moines. On behalf of the people of Des Moines. Let's do a full-blown investigation into the school board there. Let's haul in Michelle Obama's chief of staff. Let's get her answers in a deposition as to what exactly she's saying. You know, we need her under oath. You know, what did she actually know as they brought this guy in and they kept him there in the school system? If it's the Department of Education, the Department of Justice, whatever it takes, let's just make them suffer for what they've done. That's it. That's it. If there are no consequences, then more crap like this happens. And I'd like less crap like that to happen. So I'd like there to be consequences. That's the plan. One more thing on federal investigations and illegal aliens. This week we got a really big piece of news. Like it's not shocking, but it is appalling. We got a big piece of news this week from Governor Kevin Stitt, who determined that the New York State has been handing out these crazy driver's licenses to illegal aliens to give them commercial driver's licenses with no name given. No name given. I was on Newsmax on Tuesday night talking about this with the great Rob Finnerty. It says no name given on the New York State driver's license. And as I pointed out to you when we first went over this, it's a real ID, meaning not just that it's a real driver's license that was handed out by New York. It's got a little star at the top right corner of it. You see that? Rumble.com/Vince. You see the star that's up there? What that means is that, like, for the rest of us, you had to go through a whole process. You had to have two IDs. You had to go through like a full-blown rectal exam. And then they're like, okay, fine. The federal government confirms that you're the person you say you are. What is this? How are illegal aliens getting, quote, real IDs? And since this is a national system, let me make another recommendation to our great federal government. Investigate New York State immediately. In what world can they be using a national identification system, the Real ID system, to give illegal aliens identification cards? And then pretending that they're, quote, real. That's not a real ID. That's a, quote, fake ID. We need a real criminal investigation into what the hell states like New York are doing and the way they're selling the rest of us out by trying to take advantage of a system that's designed to protect you. That's what it's designed for. And as always, the left figures that way to abuse it. It's happening. All right. The big national radio show coming up today, 12 to 3 Eastern time. You can get your local listings, thevinceshow.com. You can watch us live, rumble.com/Vince. Maybe we'll have some surprise guests stop by. We'll see. Working on things. And as always, great to have you with us. I'm back with you tomorrow on another great edition of Vince. Coming up next here on Rumble, Steven Crowder. Stand by for that.
We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented